Also thank the Program Director, our Director General, Minister of Justice and Correctional Services of South Africa, Honorable Ronald Lamola, Minister of Police, Honorable Becky Cele, Deputy Ministers, John Jeffries, Pategile Olomisa, MEC for Safety in Gauteng, Ms. Faith Mazubuko, members of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee here present, former Judge President of Mpumalanga, Justice Lukhodi, Judge President of the Free State, Justice Musi, and other judges here present with us today, former and present judges, head of commissions here present, National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Shamila Batoi, National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, Lieutenant General Fani Masemola, Mr. Mahoti Samuel Tubakale, Department of Correctional Services, National Head of Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, Advocate Lieutenant General Godfrey Libia, National Head of Directorate, Senior Leadership of Chapter 9 and 10 institutions, traditional leadership and civil society organizations here present, government officials, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Dumelang, Sanbonani, Abshe, Dimachero. I am honored to address you today at this important conference that brings together stakeholders to contribute to the National Development Plan 2030 vision through honest review, solution-based recommendations, and a commitment to working together towards a South Africa with a strong criminal justice system, a country where all feel safe and secure. As we celebrate 30 years of our Constitution, with less than 3 months to the 2024 general elections, this is an opportune moment for us to reflect on the criminal justice system in the context of the rights enshrined in our Constitution and the founding provisions of human dignity and the advancements of human rights and freedoms. I believe that the criminal justice system serves as a bedrock of every democratic society, ensuring the protection of individual rights and the maintenance of order. For many years, the Integrated Criminal Justice System and the Criminal Procedure Act of 1977 have had a profound impact on how we handle law enforcement, prosecution, and adjudication in South Africa. However, we must examine the current legal framework and identify areas that require transformation and amendment. Our laws must be responsive to the changing needs of society and aligned with international standards. In this regard, our Constitution guides us on the ongoing path of transformation, which has proven to be dynamic, challenging, but also producing some positive outcomes as it relates to improving the lives of all South Africans. Likewise, the criminal justice system and all its constitutive parts are on a transformative journey, requiring us to assess where we come from, where we are now, and where we are headed. Currently, our criminal justice system and democracy have been put to the test due to widespread corruption, criminality, gender-based violence, and femicide. Crime remains persistent despite the many strategies we have devised to fight it, such as increased police presence, community policing initiatives, and technological investments in surveillance and evidence collection. The prosecution and judicial system are overburdened. The correctional services is overcrowded, and the police system continues to be besieged as the state fights to prosecute and punish criminal behavior, frequently compromising on zero tolerance pledges to punish at all costs. Looking at these challenges, it is easy to grow despondent, but we must never be discouraged. Instead, we must double our efforts to reach our desired goals. The legal system in South Africa has undergone significant changes since the apartheid era, aiming to ensure fairness and equal opportunities to all citizens. Post-1994 changes include a national crime prevention strategy, victim empowerment programs, and a diversion program for low-impact offenses under Pillar 1 to ensure human rights culture. Recently, we replaced the 1996 National Crime Prevention Strategy with the Integrated Crime and Violence Prevention Strategy, approved in March 2022 by the Cabinet. This strategy focuses on preventing crime and violence through the whole of government and the whole of society approach. It outlines a comprehensive collaborative framework for crime and violence prevention in the country, focusing on 6 independent and interrelated pillars, which are the following: an effective criminal justice system, early intervention for crime prevention, victim support interventions, effective and integrated service delivery, safety through environmental design, and active public and community participation. I applaud the implementation of the Safer Cities project in 7 cities, which includes community participation with more than 58,000 community in blue patrollers, and the continuation of programs such as traditional policing and the NPA Community Prosecution Initiative. Furthermore, we applaud the growth of Tutuzela care centers, which now have 63 locations targeting high crime areas, empowering community policing fora, and implementing outreach projects. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot overlook the issues that are endangering our economy, particularly in the construction sector. Murderous construction mafias have brought many companies to their knees, and we must fight back to safeguard this industry. A concerted effort from all is necessary to unravel the complex web of construction site disruptions, which endangers lives and impedes the government's objective of transforming the nation into a massive construction site that generates employment and expands the economy. In this regard, the economic infrastructure task teams are actively working to combat non-ferrous metal thefts, essential and critical infrastructure crimes, and illegal activities in mining. They emphasize the need to enhance existing interventions to safeguard economic infrastructure with a focus on state enterprises, particularly Eskom, Transnet, and PRASA. As government, we have put fighting crime and corruption as a top priority because it undermines human rights and the rule of law. We are tackling significant commercial and serious organized crime through the developed anti-crime task team and the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation Operational Committee, currently known as the National Priority Crimes Operational Committee, under the South African Police Service Act. Through the integrated task force, we are coordinating the implementation of more than 200 recommendations for criminal investigations made by the Zondo State Capture Commission. As it stands, 3 convictions secured and 11 cases are currently before court relating to 36 recommendations. The remaining recommendations are still under investigation. Despite these crime intervention strategies and other initiatives, it is concerning the most recent Statistics South Africa Victims of Crime Survey indicates that confidence in our criminal justice system is declining. In other words, our people do not feel safe and secure. As a result, over the next few months, the JCPS cluster is strategically planning key interventions from multiple departments to address the prevailing crime situation. These efforts will notably focus on combating violent and organized crime, with a dedicated emphasis on addressing corruption, amongst other things. Maintaining targeted efforts to address gender-based violence and femicide and its impact on individuals and communities. Establishing an independent entity called the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption with the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA. Enhancing the effectiveness of the Whistleblowers Act, and also finalizing revisions to the Criminal Procedure Act to bolster efforts to combat both crime and corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, given the drastic impact that arrests can have on the fundamental rights of individuals and the potential harm to those arrested unlawfully, it is imperative to reduce the instances of unnecessary arrests that may lead to unlawful arrest and detention. Promoting alternative methods of ensuring a suspect's court attendance, such as summons, written notices, is crucial to reduce costly civil claims against the state and address pressing needs. Ensuring these methods are more accessible to police officials and considering greater judicial oversights over arrests is also necessary to reduce unnecessary arrests. This will indeed help the strain on the fiscus and improve the overall justice system. A couple of years ago, in response to the incessant outcry by our people that bail is readily granted to accused persons, the government undertook to review bail laws to make it more difficult for accused persons to be released on bail. Consequently, the Minister of Justice has initiated a review process to strengthen bail laws, ensure national security, and address some of the concerns of victims and communities as it pertains to our own processes. This review is a central part of our ongoing work by the Department of Justice and the South African Law Reform Commission. We believe that the outcome of this review will make sure that bail decisions are based on the needs of victims and complainants as well, improve the effectiveness of our efforts to fight crime, and address the problem of overcrowding in our prisons and remand detention centers. Regarding gender-based violence and femicide, we have developed the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide National Strategic Plan to enhance a unified national response to this issue. In 2022-23 fiscal year, the courts have shown a 27.9% increase in life imprisonment sentences for gender-based violence and femicide at Tutuzela care centers, indicating the court's robust approach to combating gender-based violence and femicide. Most significantly, the National Assembly approved the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Bill, which is currently under scrutiny by the National Council of Provinces. The government is responding swiftly to the gender-based violence and femicide epidemic by putting an emphasis on robust institutions and solid evidence. In late 2020, the Department of Justice introduced 3 amendment bills, including the Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Act 12 of 2021, the Criminal Law, Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act 13 of 1921, and the Domestic Violence Amendment Act 14 of 2021. The latter act established an electronic repository for domestic violence protection orders, which became operational on the 14th of April 2023. These laws significantly change the legislative framework for gender-based violence, emphasizing the need for an effective and efficient criminal justice system to fight gender-based violence and femicide. Ladies and gentlemen, regarding immigration, South Africa has various pieces of legislation that address citizenship, immigration, and refugee protection, including the Citizenship Act, the Immigration Act, and the Refugees Act as amended. There is some misalignment in these pieces of legislation. Government has thus began to do an evaluation of these existing laws and create new laws that will assist in dealing with this crisis of illegal immigration in our country. I'm confident that the recently approved Cabinet White Paper on citizenship, immigration, and refugee protection will provide a framework for granting residency and citizenship to foreign nationals and protecting refugees and asylum seekers while keeping the Republic's national security interests in mind and following international migration agreements and protocols to which South Africa is a party. Minister Lamula and all the highly esteemed participants, let me conclude by highlighting that the formation of independent judicial institutions devoid of political influence has been one of the most significant achievements of the democratic South African justice system. This has guaranteed that the courts can carry out their roles in an unbiased and fair manner, protecting the rights of every person. The judicial system has also played an important role in resolving historical injustices through mechanisms such as the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. These activities have served to promote healing and reconciliation among South Africans, opening the path for a more cohesive and inclusive society. As we look towards the future, let us commit to further enhancing and protecting this crucial institution to ensure a just and fair society for all and for all South Africans. I'm optimistic about the potential outcome that will emerge from this conference discussions, which will ultimately shape the ongoing evolution of our criminal justice system. Program Director, thank you for this opportunity. I did indicate to Minister Lamula that I would have liked to be here until lunchtime to participate in the conference and hear other inputs, but unfortunately there are commitments I couldn't get out of with the IEC, so I will not be with you until lunchtime, but I wish the conference all the best. Thank you very much. Ken Sainko.
Councillor Snene DP, and I will want to ask the Deputy Minister for Justice and Constitutional Development, Honorable John Jeffrey, to come and express a word of gratitude to the Deputy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Program Director, Honorable Deputy President, Honorable Minister, all distinguished guests and friends. The National Development Plan 2030 not only articulates a vision of the type of society which each and every person in South Africa wants to see realized, it also sets out a roadmap for us on how to achieve it. As we celebrate 30 years of our democracy, this is an opportune moment to reflect on the criminal justice system in the context of the rights enshrined in the Constitution. It is time for us to look critically at the criminal justice system and see where it works and where improvements need to be made. Often people think law is old and traditional, but the thing about good lawmaking is that laws should not be static. They should change as society does, meeting the needs of users of those laws. And that is why we also need to look critically at the Criminal Procedure Act, an act which, although has been amended many times, is nearly 50 years old. Achieving the vision of the National Development Plan requires a well-functioning criminal justice system in which the police, the judiciary, and correctional services work together to ensure that suspects are caught, prosecuted, convicted if guilty, and securely incarcerated and rehabilitated. An effective criminal justice system is a necessary condition to promote safety and security effectively, but it is insufficient on its own. Partnerships with other key stakeholders are vital. More is required from us to find sustainable and effective solutions to crime and insecurity. Active citizenry, an efficient criminal justice system, and effective coordinating partnerships with civil society and the private sector are key components of a sustainable strategy for the safety and security of our people. Inspiring public confidence in the criminal justice system is necessary to prevent crime and to increase levels of safety. Public confidence is eroded by perceptions that criminals escape the law, that bail laws are not properly applied, that arrests do not lead to convictions, that prisoners escape from courtrooms or correctional facilities, or that people who shouldn't get parole get parole. Public confidence is also eroded where the victims of crime feel that they're not supported or treated well by the system. And that is why it is vital to have a criminal justice system which responds to the needs of the victims of crime. This conference will bring together all stakeholders who contribute to achieving the vision of the National Development Plan 2030 through honest review, developing solution-based recommendations through engagement, and committing to work together to achieve the vision of a South Africa where all feel and are safe and secure. I want to extend a sincere word of thanks to everyone who has already or will be contributing to the success of this conference over the next 3 days. Firstly, I want to thank the Deputy President for an insightful address. Mr. Deputy President, your address has once again highlighted government's ongoing commitment to strengthening the criminal justice system, and your attendance this morning sends a strong message that government is serious about fighting crime and building safer communities and building a criminal justice system which instills public trust and confidence. I want to thank our Minister, Minister Ronald Lamola, for his leadership, and I want to acknowledge and thank the various ministers, thank in advance sometimes, the various ministers, deputy ministers and members of parliament for their inputs into this conference and the process going forward. To the members of the judiciary, we can all truly say that our courts have been the bedrock of our constitutional democracy. Our courts have been fearless in their judgments, holding even the most powerful to account. Thank you also to the representatives of our Chapter 9 and Chapter 10 institutions. For those of you who don't know about Chapter 10, it's the Public Service Commission. The fact that these institutions have such prominence in our Constitution shows the importance with which the architects of our democratic dispensation viewed these bodies. To our international partners, those in the diplomatic corps and from international organizations, thank you for your unwavering support and assistance to the work we do here in South Africa and in the region. A special appreciation to members of civil society who are here and will be participating in this event. The National Development Plan acknowledges and places a high value on active citizenry, and we're extremely fortunate as a country to have the vibrant civil society sector that we have. To the people who are at the very coalface of the criminal justice system, such as the National Director of Public Prosecutions, the senior leadership of the National Prosecuting Authority, of the SAPS, and of other JCPS government departments, Legal Aid South Africa, legal profession, thank you for the work you do, often under challenging circumstances, and for being here to share your insights with us. I also want to welcome and thank the members of the media. Many of you report on crime and criminal justice matters every day. Often you are the ones who ensure that the public know who the victims of crime are, what happened to them, and you are the ones that make sure their stories are told. Last but definitely not least, let me welcome and thank the leadership of the South African Law Reform Commission. The Commission is fundamental to law reform efforts in our country, and were it not for the Commission, along with our department's legislative drafting branch, this conference would not have taken place. I want to acknowledge all the hard work you have done thus far and wish you the best for the process going forward. Program Director, the conference will foster robust discussions and debates to cultivate ideas and solutions to the challenges faced by the criminal justice system in South Africa. We owe it to those who paid the ultimate price for the freedom we enjoy today to ensure that we have a criminal justice system which works and works well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just in that list of gratitudes, we finally will also want to thank God for the good weather today. It has been very hot in our province or in our country the past 3 days. We are on good time. I want to, at this moment, ask all of us to rise to our feet and allow the Deputy President and the entourage to take leave as we remain standing, and as the program director, I will give you direction. Deputy President and Minister.